Hi. So I am out riding my horse today. I say out. Really, I'm just in the round. Full transparency. In the round pen, but it's a beautiful day. The sun is shining. It's a little chilly, but it's beautiful, and it's been a great morning filled with lessons and friends, coffee. There's a little bit of wind, which I'm sure is probably being picked up on here, but it's great. Jack is doing Jack things, and we're just having a good time. Building up confidence and remembering to be strong and brave and that we can do things. And I feel like in these moments, I really do have an opportunity to meet with God. And not that it requires horseback riding to meet with God, but this is a place where I feel like I have time to just be. And so it got me thinking about something that happened earlier in the week. So I had a morning where I was just down. Like, I was just in the depths a little bit, kind of depressy, stressy, because life just sometimes that happens. And the biggest thing I realized is, like, I wasn't connecting with God. Like, I was just stressy, depressy, and relying on myself, and I was trying to, like, wallow in it. And so my friend and I, we have this saying, you can feel it, but you can't live in it. You can't stay there. You have to get out. And so that's kind of what we've adopted our stance to be is, okay, we can feel it for a minute, bless you, but we can't stay there. And that's kind of what happened. Was actually another friend actually called me, and she called me for something unrelated to God, but we ended up having a wonderful conversation about what God had been doing in her life at church on Sunday, which was an incredible story. And it's like I felt so rejuvenated and revived from that conversation, and it, like, God gave me the ultimate example of, okay, you can feel it, but you can't stay in it. And he, like, showed up in a big way, because I felt so just, like, empowered in that moment. Like, that spark was reunited. And at that same time, like, my other friend, who's kind of my accountability person when it comes to God, she's my bestie, and she, like, was texting me, and she was kind of saying the same thing, like, you can't stay in it. So God literally was there. He was just like, okay, you can feel it, but you can't stay in it. I don't know. I just thought that was so cool. That's just a moment that I wanted to share, because you can feel it, but you can't stay in it. And the great thing is while we may go through suffering, we may go through trials in our life, God's not going to let us stay there. So whatever you're struggling with right now, just know that it is temporary. And even though sometimes we can't see what God's doing, like, I did not expect to have the conversation that I had on the phone, nor the conversation I was having, like, through text message. I didn't expect either of those things and didn't see them coming. It was like a just wow, like, great surprise. It's one of those things where, like, God didn't leave me there. He wasn't going to leave me there. So he's not, and that's a simple thing. That's just I was in a depressing mood, and there are such bigger situations on this earth, but God's not going to leave us there. And, I know that a lot of times when it comes to faith, people have big questions about big things happening in the world. And sometimes it can be hard to understand what God is doing and why. And it is also not our position to necessarily always understand why, but what it is our position to do is have faith that he's going to work any situation for our good and his glory. Again, that's hard to believe when there's so much evil in the world. But what that comes down to is God had given us a perfect world, and Adam and Eve ruined it. And so now we live in this imperfect world. And sorry, I couldn't tell if Jack was trying to poop or what he was doing. We live in this imperfect world now, but for those that believe and follow God, for those that trust in him, it can be a little different. And what I mean by that is he wants a relationship with you. I feel like if you just look at Adam and Eve, all God wanted from them was a relationship built on trust. And, well, they squandered that. And so now we have that opportunity to renew that relationship based on faith and trust through Jesus Christ, our Savior. And that's not easy, because innately as a human race, we are now distrustful. I think that's just built into our DNA. We are distrustful. And it's hard to have a relationship with something that you can't see. But then moments happen where your friend calls you and shares exactly what you needed to hear, or someone randomly asks if you need prayer in the grocery store. You know, things just happen, but it comes with faith, trust, and relationship. So that also comes with time in a relationship. You know, no relationship is perfect right away, and they take work. There's work on both ends. And so that's the beautiful thing about God, is when I said he's not going to leave you there, I mean that. He's not going to leave you there. Now, there's things that he may ask you to walk through that are not pretty, but the thing is, you will get to the other side. So I don't know if that made sense for anyone, but it's just something I wanted to share. Thank you for taking the time to listen, if you listened, because this was a really long video. But I hope you have a blessed day, and remember that you're strong, you're brave, and you can do it.